and they were like
Yes,
him and his family
classic.
were like going around and killing all the Spider characters. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, I love that.
Classic story. Yeah.
That was hot.
Spider-Man. Listen, Spider-Man is goated. I'm sorry. Like Spider-Man really is like one of the greatest superheroes of all time. It just truly is like it is
He's
what it
got an
is.
amazing
He just
scalp.
has it.
I
Yeah.
like like
He
top three maybe.
easily. He's got it.
Mm, yeah, he's popular.
You gotta give him his credit. You gotta stand for him.
He's
You don't gotta like him
popular.
at all.
He's
Like,
popular.
like
I'll never take that away from him. He's
he is he is the superhero.
popular. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of another relaunch. You're your host. I am. Ooh, no, I don't want to do that. I was about to say I'm Icarus because Eternals came out this week, but
Hmm. Oh, you
it
don't
is
want to be
not.
him? Oh.
I'm using that. No, because like when you think of Icarus, you think of the MCU Icarus now.
I, I mean, I liked
Well,
him.
you'd. Oh, okay.
He was fine.
um, I'll do Fastos. I'll be Fastos this week.
Okay. Well, I am Queen of Space, Miss Coriander's Starfire.
Ooh, that's a good. You love you some Starfire. She'll never
You
get the
know,
respect she deserves, but
that's my girl. Does not. Well, none of the Titans do so.
it's a horrible place to be these days. Like I would not
Hmm.
want to be a former Titan.
No. The only one that's kind of doing all right for himself right now is Nightwing, but that's because he
It's
bat
not.
related, so he always gonna be
Yeah,
good.
he always will be there. I'm trying to think who else is a Titan. Who else is a Titan?
Where's Beast Boy or
He's in.
Raven?
They're in the Titans United miniseries right now. That's happening, which is weird.
Yes.
It's like a weird miniseries. It's like kind of actually good and enjoyable, but it's a very obvious cash grab to capitalize off this TV show. Because like you look at this team and you're like, why are y'all together? Why are Hawk and Dove here hanging out with Jason Todd? Like that's so weird.
Right. Yeah.
But like
It does not
that's
fit.
that. Um, yeah, I don't think any of them are doing
Oh
good.
well,
I mean,
Donna.
I was gonna say
Donna's
Cassie
doing
and
all right.
Donna
She's
are like about to be in trial of Amazons, but like look at Cassie's
yeah.
costume.
Well, we blame that on Bendis.
That little
You
brown
know.
hoodie. It's given.
Yeah. Well, they retconned her origin. Originally, she was the daughter of Zeus.
Yeah.
Um, but they retconned it once they gave that origin to Diana, to
Mm,
where she is the daughter of like Lennox Sandsmark, who is he's a son of Zeus, so she's like the granddaughter of Zeus now instead of that.
I don't know
And
why
then
they
like also makes her
Aries
like
daughter.
related to Diana.
I
What?
don't know why they didn't just make her like Aries' daughter or something like that.
I thought that would have been better too, just to make a different god, but like whatever.
And then like in the John's run with Cassie, he was like helping her. He's the one who gave her a lasso.
Yeah, I thought would have been cool.
I mean, I don't
I
really like
missed that.
Cassie though, so whatever.
I do. I like her, but then like, obviously, like once they retconned her into being the grandfather, the granddaughter of Zeus.
Mhm.
Now
The
she
stock
look.
is
It's
down.
like ain't that what Bendis would think a granddaughter would look like? So
Yeah, it would. And it's but she looks odd too because it's like everybody else
she's
got on
young.
armor. Like everybody else over here got on their like shoulder pads and their swords and their all that stuff, and it's like here she go in her little brown hoodie that don't
Yeah,
even
it don't make
match
sense.
and this
It doesn't
skirt,
make sense.
this
She
green
looks like she's
skirt.
13.
Ah! Okay,
Doesn't make sense.
okay, that's enough about Cassie because she's getting too much time here. She doesn't deserve. Um,
She
this.
does.
How are you feeling? You were sick the last time we talked. Are you
I'm
better?
feeling a little bit better. Yeah,
Okay.
I am I took the time to try to get better. Obviously, I couldn't take too much time off work because I still got bills to pay. But I took medicines and stuff and really tried to sleep, and I'm feeling a lot better.
Ain't capitalism crazy?
Ain't
Like,
it?
sick.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
damn.
yes. And it was like, no, I still can't go to work because I still got this.
Like, damn. Okay, that
That is
bitch get a break.
insane. That is insane. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into it. The comics of the
Yeah.
week. This week we're gonna start out with Eternals #8, and this comes from Kieran Gillen and Isab Ribic is still doing the art. And shout out to Mr. Kieran because he's about to start doing Immortal X-Men too, and it's looking like one of the few books that I'll still be picking up post Destiny of X. So
Same over here, child. And
I'm
I
excited.
think maybe I won with that one because
Mhm.
Exodus is on that council.
And
Let's
I feel
finally get some
like
content from her.
I was about to say, I feel like Exodus is a character he would write, especially since it doesn't seem like
Yeah.
Magneto's gonna be on there. I don't know if you saw that little teaser. He wasn't on the cover, and then his name was left out of the press release. So
Hmm. I really hope they don't make him into like some mustache twirling villain again.
no,
They can't do that to
okay.
Magneto. No.
I think I don't know. We'll see.
We will see.
But Eternals, so we get here. The Eternals are on Lemuria. It's Lemuria, right? And
Yeah.
they are like fighting the deviants who have become excessively deviant and they've gone a little crazy. And so like Kingo makes a comment to Icarus, which is really funny about how, you know, I'm getting into actor mode, but I still miss the applause and all that. And Fastos is like, they look at us and know that if that happens to them, we'll kill them too. They're not going to applaud us.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on now. And so, but the Fastos also kind of like talks to Icarus, and he's like, you are just throwing yourself into battle. You know now how our resurrections work and like how we kill humans. You got to be a little bit more careful. And so Icarus is like, you're right. So he flies off, and later on, we actually see him with some deviants who are like the best gladiators on all of Lemuria. He's like, I need you to teach me how to fight smarter so I don't just die. And like the guy punches him, which was another funny moment. He punches him and he's like, you should have dodged that. And Icarus is like, what's dodging? Tell me about that.
I do
And
not
it's
like
like,
Icarus.
well, I like this Icarus. MCU Icarus would never do that. He would run
So.
for sure. Uh, And so, while that's going on, we also have like Thena. She's with her blue deviant boyfriend, and he's starting to grow the like
Change.
excessively deviant attributes, and so he's
Mhm.
about to have to die soon. And all the way back on Titan, we have Thanos, and he has finally resurrected Druig. And Druig is like, he knows that something went wrong. He knows that like he probably tried to double cross Thanos. He found out, but he's like, I'm gonna be smarter about it this time so we don't make the same mistakes. And Druig, he's a snake, so he plays his part. And they go out, and then Cersei is in there talking to people. She discovers that Thanos has been elected Prime Eternal. This book was actually really funny this time around because she's like screaming into
It truly
everybody's
was.
head, and she was like, "Y'all need to listen up right now." And Kiko was like, "This is like, calm down. Nothing is like that serious. You don't need to be screaming." And she's like, "Oh no, I do need to be screaming." But she's trying to tell them, and while that happens, Thanos pops up on Athena and them and Lemuria, and he's like, "What's up? It's time."
Mhm.
And like when Karen brings this over to Immortal X-Men, and he uses Exodus, you really will have won.
I think I won with that one. That's gonna be hot because I really enjoyed the way this issue and the way he like has the Eternals speak with each other and the gravitas he gives Thanos the way he speaks. Like Thanos
Mm-hmm.
wants to have his body repaired, and he has that assistant, Domo, who is like who says that he's always been an Eternal who like is like 4 breaths away from death because he's just old
Mm-hmm.
looking. Like that's just always how he's always been. And he is like, did you fix my body? And he says no, like we didn't fix it. We still need to figure out what's going on. Like you're a part of the machine, but not fully. And Thanos like is like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna make you my like head science person, and then he kills him. And
Wow.
actually, like when he told him he was gonna make him like the new like head science person, I believed him. I was not expecting him to like murder him.
No, rule number one: you don't believe Thanos.
So, and then we like see a bunch of Druid's like machinations. I'm really, really liking this book a lot.
It's excellent. I think this is like really good politics. Again, there's a great balance of drama and humor, and it all works. You never really feel taken out by it, and everybody's interesting.
Cersei's messy. And because we see that she's the one who like paid Jack to
Mm-hmm.
have some of these deviants change so that Icarus could fight them. Like,
Mm-hmm. It's like I love it. I love this book. This is
yeah,
a 4 out of 5 issue for me. Maybe a 4.5 actually, because I laughed a
yeah,
lot, like out loud, truly.
yeah. I would also give it a 4.5 out of 5. It's hot.
Shout out to the Eternals. They're doing what needs to be done. Okay.
I wonder what these Oceanus Eternals are gonna look like too. You think they're like,
Ooh,
Atlantean esque?
I can't wait. Ooh. All right. Next up on the list is Black Manta number 4, and this comes from Chuck Brown. There was a guest artist this time. It's Matthew Dow Smith. Now you still haven't gotten into Black Manta yet, right?
I have not. I have not. Not yet.
It's
Actually, I
fine.
want to though.
It's I mean it's 6 issues. I of course I recommend getting it, but like if you want to collect it in trade or read it when it hits DC Unlimited, it's like one fell swoop. I wouldn't be upset about that as long as it gets read because it's really good. I think again this issue does a lot of fleshing out of Black Manta, David Hyde, and just like the character and giving him some stuff to do beyond hating Aquaman. We also start to get a little bit more of the deserter tribe of Atlantis. So everybody knows in Atlantis there are like the Seven Kingdoms. And so there's always been like this one tribe. Oh, I don't know. You might remember from the movie when they were in the desert looking for that
Oh
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes. The deserter tribe. They are. It was a group of black people. They actually went to Ethiopia, back to Africa. They were like where the first Atlantean
Okay.
weapons masters were, and Black
All
Manta
right.
is a descendant of this tribe. And so
Oh,
there is
okay.
this stone called the orichalcum, yeah, orichalcum, and a bunch of people in the world have like kind of started to feel sick and are dying because of this stone. So I'm theorizing that like all of these people are the people who are the descendants of this tribe of Atlanteans who left. And that's why they're specifically affected by it. And so they run into the little storm looking chick,
Mm-hmm.
and her and Manta are kind of like trading blows back and forth. You can tell there's a little romance button here because they're like
Okay.
arguing, but they're like he's telling her stop talking to me or I will kill you, and she's like, yeah, you can't do that at all. So it's like I like to see you try. Which brings some nice humor to the book. We also have the other guy who's Devil Ray, who has this like weird connection to Manta. He's also trying to work on the orichalcum stones, and he has these two
Mm-hmm.
people doing something to absorb them. But when they do that, it turns out that anyone who is not a descendant of the deserter tribe, when these stones are like infused with them, they start to gain very high levels of radiation poisoning and they die.
Oh
And
no.
so, yeah, so he's like, all right, well, I need Black Manta. And while that is going on, the girl, storm looking chick, they call her Tord now because she doesn't remember anything about her life. They go to Dr. Mist because she remembers that she was with this sorcerer at one time. Do you know who Dr. Mist is?
Mm-mm.
He's like the black magic guy of DC.
Oh.
He's like bald. He wears this green costume. He's got like this big black and red cape, but the cape is kind of ugly. But the costume's hot. And so Dr. Mist
Okay.
pops up and he like knows the girl. He's like, you are a child of the underworld and Atlantis. And she's like, oh, how do you know me? He's like, I know you, Black Manta. And they're just like, you need to tell us what you know. And so he kind of like touches them and he starts giving them some knowledge. He's like, all right, let me help you figure it out. And that's where the issue ends. So this was
Okay. I
4. We
looked
have
up
two
Dr.
more
Mist
issues.
and he looks pretty cool.
He's hot. He's hot.
He's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And
Okay.
me and you talk often about how there aren't a lot of black magical characters. Um,
No. Right. Yeah.
and you think about like the Doctor Stranges of the world and the like the Baron Mordos and all that stuff like that. And it's like you just even your magical girls, you might occasionally get like a black magic chick. You got Storm. But you look around and you don't see that for the guys. Like the black characters tend to get a lot of those powers that are electrical or like super strength, very physical based. And it's like, oh, okay, so
Physical. Yeah.
Dr. Mist and Bloodwind are like two of the very few that we have. And so I've always kind of had a little bit of affinity for them. They're not honestly the greatest characters, especially Bloodwind, because he hasn't really appeared since like the 80s. But
Okay.
their costumes are hot and the potential is there. And I think that's really all you ever need.
Okay, yeah,
But
yeah. Honestly, a good look in the powers can go a long way.
but this issue I think was really good. I do think this art, Delandro's normally the artist. Dow was like fine, but it's also a little bit muddy at times, and there's not a lot of face acting in it. The faces are actually kind of
Okay.
absent a lot of times. It feels like. I will say when he does close-ups of Black Manta, he looks just like Idris Elba,
Okay.
which is like funny.
That's fine.
But all in all, the story is really good. Again, a great fleshing of Black Manta. I'd give it like a 3 point. I give it a out of 5. Solid,
Okay. That's
very
solid.
solid. Um, okay. And now next up on our list we have Wonder Girl number 6, and this comes from Joel Jones.
Mm.
We had a guest artist on this issue too. Hold on, let me look that up. But are you still reading Wonder Girl?
I dropped Wonder Girl because it was taking a little bit too long to pop off for me. But I am going to come back and catch up on the issues though. When we get to like the trial of the Amazons, because I am excited for that.
Okay, well that's good. We can deal with that. Layla Del Duca is doing the art for this issue. So I will say
Has she started doing anything yet?
she had yes a little bit. So
Okay.
so in the last issue, Hera basically gave Yara the choice to like be her weapon. Yara refused, and so this issue we see her trying to get away. She runs into this giant. They capture her. They throw her in Tartarus. She comes up to Eros, like comes to her cell, and he's like, how could you betray Hera? That means, if you don't choose Olympus, you don't choose me, we can't be together. And Yara's like, just because I don't want to do that doesn't mean I don't care for you, I don't love you. Which I will say, this is one part of the book that I find issue with. I don't really think that the relationship that Yara is supposed to have with Eros has been conveyed well enough. Earlier in the book, he shot her with one of his arrows, so it's like she loves him because of that. But even so, it's like you don't really feel that when you see them together. And
Okay.
I will say it does feel like sometimes the book jumps without like too much explanation of what happens, because so the last issue, her little horse Jerry, the flying one, he died. This one he
Oh
pops
no.
back up, and
Oh.
she's just like, oh my god, Jerry, like you're not dead, I'm so happy. And like she gets on him and they like start flying around, and it's just kind of like,
Okay.
okay. It's just like, oh, okay. Even like again in this one, so in the beginning when she's fighting this giant that apparently captures her and throws her in Tartarus, later on the giant comes back and starts attacking her while she's in her cell. And you're just kind of looking at it like, why is this happening? And then she like uses her little weapon, her bolos, and she knocks him out. But it was also like, well, where did he come from? Did he throw her in Tartarus in the beginning? Like, why is he coming back to attack her? It was a little bit confusing. Nonetheless, while all of that's going on, Donna and Cassie have met the new group of Amazons that Yara is a part of, and they are marching to Olympus to rescue Yara and basically wage war on Hera. And while Yara is trying to get out of Olympus, the man who killed her mom and like attacked her tribe when she was a child walks up to, it's like coming up.
Oh, okay. He's
And
coming
that's where
back.
yeah, he's coming back, and she tells Jerry, she's like, Jerry, fly off, this is my fight and my fight alone. And that's where the issue ends.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
it's like
It's trying to come together. It's
it's it's trying to come together, and it's like I really appreciate that.
Oh.
And it's moving a little bit, it's chugging along. It does feel like a lot of what's being built here is going to tie into Trial of Amazons. So that's also why I
Mm.
kind of feel like maybe it's moving a little bit slowly, because I feel like between this, the new Amazons that have been introduced in this, plus all the stuff that's going on in Nubia's book, I feel like that's where the big fleshing of that's going to be. Like, who are these Amazons? What's going on? Let's get the big story. And
Hmm.
so, who did they say if like one person was just writing that event? The March Solicits came out. I have to look them up.
I don't think one person is writing the event. I think it's like a team. And I think it's gonna be going through the rest of the events too. I mean rest of the book, the Wonder books. Like
Hmm.
tie-ins.
Hmm.
I could be
I don't.
wrong.
No, that sounds right. I just don't know how I feel about that.
Mm. Mm.
guess we'll wait till. I guess we'll see in March. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Good for them. Good for them for having an event like that. I think
The
the
Wonder
Wonder
stock
Corner
is
needs.
clicking up. It's clicking
Yeah,
up. They haven't had one since
it really is.
the invasion of the Amazons or whatever that one was called.
Attack of the Amazons or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was bad.
Yeah, that was a
And
time.
it was bad, and that's when like Supergirl was like with the Amazons too. It was crazy, but yeah, it's just like the line's clicking up. Nubia's good. Wonder Girl's getting better. I've heard decent things about the Wonder Woman book itself, and they have a lot of like little minis going on, like the Black and Gold, the sensational stuff. Trial is coming up. The characters are popping back. They're interesting. Artemis, Donna's here. I'm into it.
Yeah, I'm into it too. They deserve to have that like their time to shine. It seems as though they're finally trying to show why Diana and like the Wonder Woman corner she's in the Trinity.
And I think that's is that what we're going for?
That's what we're going for. It's they're building up Themyscira to at least have it rival Gotham or any of the other stuff, like having him have its own corner.
Okay. Yes, I will agree with that for sure. But it was needed though. It's also like, why did this take so long?
People love Gotham. Everybody wants to just write a Batman story.
That's a word. But all in all, I would give Wonder Girl number 6 probably like again another solid 3 out of 5. There's still some like things here and there that you're like, but the story is kicking up a notch. Yara looks good in her little costume. She's swinging her sword. It's going to be interesting to find out like who this guy is and what's going on. And I'm still liking what I see of the new Amazon groups. They got hot costumes. Cassie's kind of annoying and stuff.
Why is she annoying? What does she do?
She's just like, oh my god, I'm so excited. She's like, gosh. I can't wait to learn everything about these new women. It's just like, girl, job. But yeah. Next up, it's actually our final book of the week. It is Excalibur number 26, and this is also the final issue of this series. And this comes from Teenie Howard and Marcus Toe. And wow.
Tell us about it, because you know I didn't read this.
You know.
All right.
I don't know. So I'll tell you about the issue.
26 issues, and it's been 2.5 issues of 2.5 years of I don't know. 2.5 years of I don't know.
I don't know. It's like So this is what happens in the book. This is like the final issue. They are going to fight Merlin and Arthur and all of them. So here was one of my issues. At the end of the last issue, Betsy and Saturnine get separated from the group. They go into like this sea, and they're on this boat, and Saturnine's like, I'm going to tell you the story of how I beat Merlin, because it will probably be helpful. Later on in the issue, they just pop back up because apparently Saturnine just has the ability to like travel between dimensions and like all that kind of stuff, and she just never said it. And I was like,
okay, MacGuffin.
Exactly. And it was like super frustrating because it's like, I feel like even if that's something she could do, I'd be able to accept it. But it's like, why could that not have been like hinted at, or like we gotten some type of little tidbit to like have it leaned into for a little bit more, like for this issue to make it feel more natural, instead of like now it just comes up as just like, oh, she can just happen to do that. But whatever. Regardless, she tells a story about how she beat Merlin. She used the Map Maker, which is a Hickman creation, I think from back either in Avengers or maybe Fantastic Four. I don't know. I didn't read either one of them. But
I don't know. I read both of those and I don't remember the Map Maker.
And she used him, and like she worked with Roma to like overthrow Merlin, and they did all this stuff, and then Saturnine was in charge. It's fine. Betsy is what's really important in this issue. And so I will say a big thing that I've kind of had about this book is that I've always known Excalibur is not like a super action heavy book. It has truly been about the story of Betsy and like overcoming all of these things to accept her role as Captain Britain. It is like a very heavy character study, or at least that's what it's supposed to be. However, throughout this book, we've had like various sieges. There's been like the first war when they went to go rescue Brian from Otherworld, when they fought like the priestesses. There's one in this issue. There was one last issue, and all of them are the exact same. It is a big group shot of this team together, and then we see a few panels of like some nonsensical clashes in the background, and then all of a sudden somebody's screaming about retreating, and the rest of it is them just running away. And once or twice, that's fine. But every single time has become very frustrating because you already have this cast that is very underutilized for a team book. And if you're not going to give them any story or anything to do outside of like propping up your priority character, at least have them do something in the fights. At least have them do something exciting. Let them use their powers. Let us see some teamwork. Let us see some innovation. Let us see some excitement. Let them do something. And it's just kind of like we have never gotten that in 26 issues. And it was like glaring here because again, this is the final one. And so you're just like, if you're not gonna go out for any other one, you're not gonna go out on your last one. But whatever. They're running away because they got to get out of the Citadel. I'm sorry, they got to get out of Avalon to go back to Krakoa because Betsy all of a sudden realizes that she's needed elsewhere because at the lighthouse has started to change because of all of the stuff that's going on in Otherworld. So the British forces have determined that they might be a threat. Clan Akaba has like convinced the prime minister and all of them that like this is dangerous and they might need to attack. And so Emma, Xavier, Rachel, and Strike are all out there, and they're like, "Where's Captain Britain? We need her to deal with this." Betsy comes running through, and she's like, "Look, I see what's going on out here. I don't really care. We need to go back to Avalon because it's under attack." And so like Emma and Xavier are kind of telling her, they're like, you are Captain Britain. We kind of need you to deal with a little bit more like diplomacy stuff over here on this side instead of like the fantasy world of Otherworld. And she's like, Britain doesn't even like me. I don't really care about them. I'm going back to Otherworld. You can send the people with me or not. And so Rachel comes up, and Rachel's like, Betsy, you're needed here. Why is she there? Questions that need answers. But she's like, Betsy, you're needed there. You're needed here, even if you don't think you're wanted. And it's just like a really weird interaction because again, they're like trying to really, you can tell the scene is like really trying to cement that like Betsy is Captain Britain. She even makes this comment about like how everyone has always been making these choices for her, and now here she finally is. She has this sword, the Starlight Sword. It represents her as Captain Britain. Even how she kind of got the role, it wasn't her decision, but now here she is. She's like, everything is in my hands. I can be the person that I want to be. I can be the hero that I want to be. This is me. Like I can do what I want. And they're still trying to hammer in the fact that like, oh, well, you're Captain Britain, and it's like she don't want to be.
Yeah.
Like she let me not say she wants to be Captain Britain, but not like in the way that they need her to be Captain Britain. Like she truly like, and like again, she's showing she does not care about anything that's going on in Great Britain because they are outside with choppers and bazookas ready to throw down, and she's like,
oh, well, fuck it.
Yeah, she's like, I mean, what? She's like, they can't do it, so who cares? But they also, when they were going through Merlin, Kleinakaba, Morgan, they were all working together to destroy the lighthouse. But Betsy kept a little bit part of it open with her sword. She was like, get me that army, meet me in Otherworld, and then she teleports back over and she like goes charging at the Arthur's forces by herself. Everyone else is stuck, and they're like crying because they're like, oh, she's already dead. And Rachel's like, no, she's led the X-Men. She's like always fought for a world that hated and feared her. Like she's gonna do it. And that's how the book ends. She's charging forward with the Starlight Sword. Don't even got the butterfly up. And the girls were going crazy for the butterfly in the last issue. So you couldn't even give it to her this time? And the final one? again, it's just like if you're not going to go crazy in any other issue, or you're not going to go big, or you're not going to do the stuff that you like really can like make this exciting, and it's just like you're not going to do it any other time, and you're not even going to do it in the final one. It was all right. It was all right.
I feel like that's all I've really heard about this series for.
It's
two
like
and a half years.
2.5 years. And so for those who don't know, Destiny of X was revealed, and then one of the books is called Knights of X. There's a teaser at the end of this issue done by Rod Rice, and it has like Betsy, Rachel, and Gambit on the cover, and it's like a Days of Future Past homage. That's on there, and then like the sign has the other characters, and so it says they're going to come back.
Or did they change that to something?
It says banished.
Okay, because of the which breed's not allowed in or whatever.
Which is also like what? But whatever. Yeah, so they're there. Betsy's now and then that's going to lead into Knights of X, which is that series that was announced on Destiny of X, and so like this book will continue from Teeny Howard. Bob Quinn is joining. He drew Way of X. And I don't know. It's just kind of like, all right, so we're doing the same thing again.
A little sounds like more of the same.
I will say, it needs a new costume. That it just
could really cement what the mission statement is, and like really can get people behind it as well. And I'm sorry,
and I've always I don't dislike the Captain Britain armor that she wears now. I think it's fine. I think it like fits the Nighty. I think when it's drawn very nicely, it looks really good. But I feel like, and I've said this before, that this suit is it feels particular to this type of story in this run. And so it's like, she was this like knightly hero of legend, Captain Britain, defending Otherworld, blah, 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 blah. If we get into Knights of X and she doesn't have any of that anymore, her outfit should change to represent that. Like your mission statement has changed, your status has changed, your standing with everybody has changed. You've kind of been stuck off in this world by yourself in the Captain Britain Corps for however long. So it's like something has to be different to really make this next run feel different.
Yeah, she definitely needs a new costume. Brian didn't have to wear armor like that.
Never.
So why should she?
He always in spandex.
Unless I get like this was supposed to feel more Dungeons and Dragons kind of Lord of the Rings-esque, but like.
And even the costume he has on now that has armor, he still got on spandex. But I don't know. I'd give this issue also a 3 out of 5. This was very 3 out of 5 week. Fine, but we'll see. The book, and I think this is also kind of what frustrates me. But this isn't necessarily just Excalibur specific. It's like a little bit of the X line as a whole. A lot of these books that they are announcing that are coming out for Destiny of X pretty much sound exactly like what we got now. Why are we pausing for 3 months or ending these books for 3 months or however long to go and do the same thing? Why couldn't
that is the $1 million question.
This could Knights of X #1 I'm pretty sure could easily just be Excalibur 27.
Yeah. For sure. Maybe there'll be some changes. More changes coming. They just announced that Gambit book. He's not going to be Excalibur anymore. He got that book.
No, he's still going to be there too.
Oh, that's right.
I think that book is going to be like an X-Men Legends type of situation. It's written by Claremont.
So it's just filling in more stories from in the past.
Yes.
Okay.
Because artist Bob Quinn, he has been like dropping some little sneak peek snippets of his art on Twitter and stuff for the Knights of X, and he's already dropped a few of Gambit.
Okay.
Yeah, and Gambit's on the first cover, so he'll at least be in the first issue, allegedly. Poor Gambit fans, they deserve
it. Poor Gambit.
But I don't know. We'll see. Excalibur's over.
It is. It is. And what a ride. You know, and what a ride. You stuck through from the
What?
beginning to the end. I got off fairly quickly.
Around. We've been around. It's been cool. It's been fine. It's been fine. Like I think that's a lot of the X9 right now. It's fine. But those were the books of the week, you guys. Let's go ahead and take a little break, and then we'll come back for the panel.
Let's do it.
Try it. I'm never gonna pick up a Venom book. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
just,
that's just
I just,
not my thing.
never can picture any reason why I would pick up a book about Venom. I don't. I just don't like the concept of the character.
Yeah, yeah. Cool villain for Spider-Man to fight, but that's where it ends for me.
I don't even know if he's that.
All right. Anyway, welcome back everybody to the panel section of the show. And speaking of cool, this week I'm going to do a character close-up of none other than Bobby Drake. That's Mr. Iceman of the X-Men, and Iceman is one of my favorite characters. I've been a big fan of his probably since the '90s cartoon when I was a kid, first getting into Iceman, but I didn't really start like really caring for him as a character until I got older and I was starting to see, some similarities between myself and Mr. Bobby Drake. Now, Iceman is one of the original 5 X-Men. He is the second X-Men actually to be recruited by Professor Xavier to the team right after Cyclops. He obviously is a Stan Lee original. He has had a very interesting kind of background and story. He grew up in Long Island with his family, his mom and dad. They are just like, regular white suburban family or whatever. His powers activate actually while he is being bullied at school. So already, you know, there's some
there.
signs that it's there. And so yeah, his powers activate while he's like younger, and he realizes that he can basically sense water and freeze it and then control it, so he can control ice. And he is instantly into it. He's not like very afraid of his powers. He wants to like learn more about them, and parents end up sending him to Xavier's institute with him to like kind of learn about his powers. So from there, he becomes an X-Men, one of the original 5. But after the whole Krakoa thing, he was one of the people who was captured by Krakoa. And after that whole incident, and when the all new, all different team came in with Storm and Sunfire and all them, he quit the X-Men and decided to like go do something else. And what does every homosexual do but move to LA? So he moved to Los Angeles and went to UCLA, and out there he became like a part of the Champions and was basically becoming a solo superhero. And yeah, that's where his like kind of his solo career kind of started. He was after the Champions disbanded, and that was who he was friends with like Hercules and Darkstar and a Black Widow. He was on the Defenders for a bit. He even like hung out with a Thing. And then this was around the time when the O5 ended up getting back together because she got returned back to life. And the O5 got back together. Then they did the whole X Factor thing. His powers ended up becoming like really expanded because he got captured by Loki, who wanted to use him to take over some parts in Asgard. So he used Iceman powers to like amplify this machine, and like because of that machine, it like caused Iceman's powers to like become crazy, augmented, out of his control. He had to wear this belt to really help him have all of his powers under control, and then eventually he ended up learning that he could control them without the belt. So he kind of thought his powers had like reached this crazy extent and that he didn't need to like train anymore. Because in my opinion, Iceman has those type of powers where the only limit is his imagination. Like he can pretty much do
Okay.
any. The only thing that's ever limiting to him is where his mind can go.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't think there's nowhere place for him to go, he didn't feel like he needed to use much
Hmm.
more powers. Um, then after that, there was the whole Muir Island saga thing that happened with the X-Men when the Reavers attacked Muir Island and Shadow King was escaped and all that stuff. After that happened, he rejoined the X-Men, and from there, yeah, I know his story. He pretty much just been in everything. Like he just been there. Like
You just been an X-Man.
yeah.
Which I mean, I guess it's like good and bad. It's always great to have that consistency. You kind of feel like I think Iceman is looked at as one of those characters who like is an X-Man. You know what I'm saying? When people think of like teams, even if you don't really necessarily care for Bobby's character, you like his power set. I don't care what nobody says. Like his power set is
Okay.
hot or
It's
cool.
cool,
You
yeah.
know. You know. So it's like having him on a team is like really good, and then he's been put on the Omega list. The girls love an Omega mutant, so it's like you add him in
That's
there.
true.
So I think in that regard, he's always going to have a place. I do wish that his stories would get pushed a little further. I think
Hmm.
that, especially once he came out, and this is to no fault of the character of his own, I think it's more so like a lot of writers. I think when characters become uh, gay in comics or things like that, they're written that way, that writers tend to make that their personality instead
Yes.
of who they are. And I think that they forget that like being gay is not the personality. And the stories that Iceman has, they always kind of teetered on his self-esteem and like holding back and just like doing what it was. And it's like, you kind of tie that into this thing of him being a closeted homosexual. And so it's like his next story was coming out, and then you got those solo series and that mini series from Cena Grace. And that was once again, I felt like the full circle moment, the ending of the arc. Like here he finally was, he accepted that he is this gay man. He's come out, he's starting to live more freely. He is starting to like date guys and be who he
Hmm.
is. And cool. He's whole again. Like he is the Iceman. Like we know that now. And I think what is the story after that? You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been missing from him for quite a while now, because it's like, well, what else do you do with this guy? Because you never really gave him anything else to fall back on beforehand. It was always just like the self-esteem stuff. It was always just kind of like holding back. And it was like, okay, now he's cool. Now he knows.
Hmm.
So where do you take him now? What do you do with this character? What is his role? Which I think it's also still there. I think that again, Iceman's consistency in the X line has been the thing that helps him. He is that guy who has been around forever, and he's kind of relatable. He should be that character who is like there for people.
He's
He's your
always got
heart of
people's
the
back.
team. He's your heart of
Yeah,
the
he's
team.
the hard. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
we throw that term around a lot, but
Yeah, but we all know who it is. It's Iceman. And I think like with him actually, in my opinion, he's always kind of fallen back on being a superhero. One thing that we talk about with some characters, it's like when they're not on the X-Men,
what are
proper,
they?
what are they doing? And with him, he was either studying to be an accountant because he just wanted to have his fallback plan. A lot of my faves have that fallback plan. And um, if he wasn't doing that, he was genuinely interested in like just being a superhero and like helping people, whoever,
Yeah,
whenever, you know, it's the Marvel
yeah.
universe, so things are always blowing up. So he was just always interested in just being a superhero. I think that to push his story forward, he should lean on that and be there for the next generation of people who want to be a superhero. He can't always be the kid. So I think that like there are definitely other like Krakoan
Avenues.
kids or whatever,
Oh yeah.
or
Oh yeah.
or something for him to kind of mentor these kids who want to be superheroes.
Yeah. What do you think? What are your like favorite Iceman stories? What are those ones that kind of like resonated with you? That was like took it from, oh, I think this is just a cool guy, to like, oh, like this is a character I really like and I want to see a lot more from.
You know, I always really enjoyed his appearances whenever he was kind of like around Storm. So I liked when he was on that X-Men Gold and like just
Oh wow.
whenever whenever he would have to like come out of his shell
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like show people that it's like I'm not always just like jokes and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been here just as long as everybody else.
Yeah.
So I actually do like anytime that he was kind of like around Storm. I liked when he was there was a like a budding kind of relationship that he had had with Rogue before, where like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like romantic, or whatever. They ended up as kind of like really being friends with each other. He tried to bring her home. His dad like thought that that was his girlfriend, and that wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
case. But they were like we're kind of there for each other, and kind of in a sense where she's also in that same boat with like being a superhero is kind of like what they're really good
Yeah.
at. And I think they kind of relate a lot on that level. So I like a lot of that. So I don't really have too many like specific arcs per se,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more of just like the moments of when he's able to kind of burst out of his ice,
For
I
sure.
guess, and show that he's like a
Doing something.
superhero.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's fair too. I think I like Iceman. I don't
Mm,
think. I think
this
if
is
I was
new,
to like,
but you like too many of my faves.
I know, right? I think that if I was to make a top 10 list of like male X characters that I like,
Mhm.
he'd probably be 10.
Okay.
I think he would round out the top 10.
Okay.
I really like Lou's astonishing X-Men and what she did with him in that arc where they like had all the ex-girlfriends come back. I do think
That was
that there's
great.
been a lot of good stuff in the stories that again kind of deal with like him, his self-esteem. Like you said, the issue with Rogue definitely speaks to me. I remember that specifically, and them on their little road trip and making fun of each other.
Yeah.
And um I'm trying to think, did I like the Lobdell era? That was where like
He was
Emma was
fun
in his
there.
head.
Yeah, that was also again when they were really starting to hint at like he
Mm.
might be a queen.
uh, so I mean, I guess I guess when you think about Krakoa now, you know, you say you kind of put him in the space of you think he could be the person who like mentors other people. He always has other people's back.
Hmm.
Who- Where do you see that fitting in Krakoa? Like on what team?
You honestly, um, and I hate for him to just have to piggyback off someone else, but I would place him wherever Bishop is, because I feel like if I like their relationship together,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they always seemed like they could make great, uh, principal, assistant principal to a war
Mm-hmm.
college kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, they've got that that cyborg Beast Boy feel.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that, and they are friends. For those who don't know, Bishop showed up in that Iceman miniseries, like, and
yeah.
they've been on multiple teams together and done lots of stuff. They actually have a pretty close relationship. Shout out to them. Bishop loves
They're
the
cool.
gays. Love that.
I think
Mm-hmm.
they're cool. So
Oh,
I think that wherever he kind of is, that would be
hmm.
great.
You know, so let me ask you this. Speaking of Lou's astonishing and that issue where they brought back like all his ex girlfriends and stuff like that, who are your favorite relationships? And what have you thought about the relationships that he has had since coming out?
Um, well, obviously, I didn't really like any of his relationships with any of the women because none of them ever felt real. When like, um, it it always felt like the guy who was obviously gay but felt the need to still kind of date women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in my eyes, whenever I saw him trying to pursue Lorna, or he was with that woman Opal,
Yeah.
and
He had the
that
thing with Mystique
still
for a
felt
while
like
too.
weird. And look, hello, look at the two of them. It's just,
Okay.
it's just, it never really like clicked to me whenever he was with any of the other female characters, and when they did just kind of decide to have him come out, it all just like made sense because everything was kind of there. So
Yeah.
I didn't really like any of his past relationships. Now, any of the relationships he's had since then, again, bad taste because it was like his younger self who dated that like Inhuman boy. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever, they're kids, so that's fine. But then older self, like there was that weird kind of docking thing, which no thanks.
I do remember that. Oh, that was in the solo series. Yes, yes, I remember that.
And there was also the currently there's like this fling with Christian Frost, which no, that just looks like some annoying white gay, and that's just not someone I ever really saw
Him with.
Iceman with or being.
Okay. If there's not too many gay characters at Marvel, but of the like gay and bisexual and pansexuals and all of that, is there anyone who you would like to see Iceman pair up with, or like just kind of get some panel time with?
Honestly, I think he should date Lightning, Living Lightning.
Look at you. You trying to get your face together. I respect it.
I think it would work. They're both superheroes, and they both came out later in life,
Mhm.
so they have that kind of thing, kind of connecting with the two of them, um, and yeah, I think they would be cute.
Okay, so in your mind, Bobby is the superhero. Like that is his archetype.
Yes, yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, he
I
likes
don't
to
know.
he likes to use his powers, and he likes to be out there.
He does like to use his powers. I guess maybe I need to go. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Iceman's been in a lot of stuff I've read. Carrie's Legacy is like one of my favorite runs. He was pretty prominent there. Maybe I
Hmm.
need to see a little bit more of his non-X stuff. Maybe I should go back and read some of that Champions
Yeah, he
again.
was great. He was great in that champion
Um,
stuff back then.
Maybe I should try his solo series. I read that. I don't think I
Yeah,
want
yeah, you're good on that. Yeah.
to. I don't know. I guess I need to see a little bit more. Or I'll find some things. You'll recommend me a couple of things. Actually, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So I can see like a little bit more of like superhero Iceman. Because right now I don't know if I see it. I don't even again when I think about the solo series that Iceman had,
Hmm.
it didn't really the whole like him being a hero outside of the X-Men thing didn't really click with me. And maybe it was just because of the issues was dealing with were so specifically mutant. But I guess he could be the mutant
Oh.
superhero.
Oh. Okay, I see what you mean. You mean as far as like who are you trying to ask, like who is he going to fight on his own that is not an ex-villain or something?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, really as anybody. I
Hmm.
think like you kind of just you could just throw things at him because he's Iceman.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it can kind of be any kind of villain. Most of the times whenever he was with like the champions and stuff, it was just random Avengers villains that he was fighting.
Okay.
Any
Okay.
of those people out there.
Okay.
So you probably just have to go back and see him like fight those people because that's who he was
Going up
fighting.
against. I can see that
Yeah.
too. I mean, he's got the power. He can do it. I think you with that character, like you kind of run into the risk of like but I guess have they ever said what happens to the ice slides and things when he leaves? Do they just stay? Do we wait for them to melt?
They melt.
Oh, we just gotta wait
He
for
he
them to
talks
melt.
about he talks about it. Sometimes in random issues, like people are like, "What happens to this ice?" Like
Yeah.
whatever when you leave. He's like it'll melt like
Oh,
in a few hours.
okay. Okay. You just gotta. Can you imagine like getting up and going to work one day and it's like your car's blocked in from this giant ice wall?
I would be. I'll call off.
Like, I
Come
don't
to
know what
work
you want
today.
to do. Like,
Sorry.
my whole street is like blocked off from a giant ice wall from Iceman, so I gotta wait like a couple days before I come back to work because we gotta wait for it to
Yeah.
melt.
He
But
and
I
he
get
does ice slide everywhere too. So
so. Well, okay. Well, that's exciting. I don't know. I think who going forward, like, who do you kind of want to see Iceman deal with a little bit more? Because he's gonna be. Oh wait, no, we don't know where he's gonna be in Destiny
we don't
next.
know where he's gonna be. He's on that. He's on the cover, and he's holding some ice orb in his hand, which looked cool, but we don't know where he's gonna be.
Did
If
any
I
of
had to
the
place him somewhere, it would look. I would probably put him, an X-Men Red.
I was just about to say he might be an X-Men Red. I feel like that's gonna be like Omegas on Mars.
Ooh. I'd be there for Iceman. Obviously,
Um,
he's dope.
I'm not like big on like super power characters like that.
Hmm.
So, but I don't know. I've heard rumors that Cable's supposed to be in that book also. He's not an Omega.
Oh yeah, that's true. No.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
You know, or if he wasn't on that, I wouldn't mind another Iceman solo. He could go solo, and we can get more into him and his character, and he could leave. Like I said, he can. He's a solo
Leave.
star already. He can go. He can leave. There aren't too
Who
many solo X-Men, and he's one of them.
who would you want to write it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't
Who would
know.
you want to draw it?
Ooh,
Because I think that's another thing about Iceman. It's like you got to have the visuals there, like
the
between the
visuals, yeah.
snowman look, the full ice look when it was trans. Did you like the translucent ice look that he used to have?
I wasn't mad at that. No, that was
Mhm.
okay.
Uh,
I did like I am also of the type that have the head canon with that he has like his ice is like an energy form basically that he can like transform in and out of. Not that he is like actual ice like Austin tried to
yeah.
change in
Mm,
in that run.
oh, living ice. I think they don't. They still kind of go with that though.
It's like I don't know how to explain it. Whatever, y'all. It's weird. It's
You know,
weird.
he don't die. He don't die is what they say. But
Basically.
I guess so yeah, so that's actually a two-part question for you. Who would you want to draw the Iceman book, and then like who has done some of your favorite Iceman visuals? Because again, he is a visual character. I think the way you can draw him and what you do with him, like the
Mhm.
golems and all that stuff, like that's very important for his run. Or
The
should
one
be.
thing that always will always stick in my mind is like one great Iceman artist was I can't even think of his name right now, but he was drawing X Factor at the time in that like that 80s run, that first one. His like
Yeah.
Iceman, the way that he looked was just so like etched in my head is the way that Iceman looks. And the way that
Mm,
his ice was always so like cubic and stuff, it looked good. Um
okay.
as far as like some newer stuff, obviously I've always so liked Dowderman. His Iceman stuff has been really great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Iceman hasn't really been drawn terribly, honestly. Like he's really got some great visuals. I do like when um who's the one guy who did the covers for Cable?
Phil Noto.
Yeah, I do like some of his Iceman stuff. Um, yeah, Iceman has had some pretty solid art.
I again, I specifically think about like Lose Astonishing when Gabriel Walter was doing that one arc, and
That
he
too, yeah.
was like freezing over New York and all that stuff. And it just looked really good. Again, I think Iceman is a character
Hmm.
that is capable of amazing visuals, and who you put him with and how you do it. You just really gotta amplify that. You gotta give him something to do. You
You
get
gotta
like
give him someone to fight.
yeah. And I think that's what falls in the issue for a lot of characters that are that powerful, especially when you're limited to a team like the X-Men, which while they do a couple of extraterrestrial things or like fight some whatever, they're mostly on the streets.
Hmm.
And it's
And he
like,
can't always be out there with them like that because he's too powerful for that. He shuts the
mm-mm.
fight down
What they gonna
too
do
quickly.
when he make the ice wall?
Nothing you could do against my boy and his ice wall. So
Hey.
I mean, I think that he just needs to. That's why he can leave and go do something bigger. Again, kind of like when I was talking before about, my superpower faves. So I think they themselves just need someone for them to fight, for them to come back around and be able to do something. Because right now, most of the villains aren't that powerful. Sorry, they're not.
That's true.
They're not that
I don't dis-
powerful.
I don't
Marvel,
disagree.
Marvel needs some stronger villains because, like, a lot of my favorites can't do anything right now because who they gonna fight?
That is true. Come down to the streets.
What Kingpin gonna do against Iceman?
Punch him.
Please. The very first time he discovered his powers, he fought Cyclops and they fought for a bit. And he looked at him and thought, I never thought about what would happen if I froze the insides of anybody. Maybe I should try that.
That's too
Literally,
far.
the limits of his power are like only his imagination. So what Kingpin gonna do? Nothing. So that's why we need some stronger villains out there. Some people with some fortresses, something.
I guess also when I think of it, like, see, like, I'm still thinking about this thing of him like freezing the insides. It's like, why are you that powerful? It's like when Monica does that thing where she turns into lightning and shoots in your eye.
I mean, because his powers are he can feel water and freeze it. You're made of it, so why wouldn't he be able to freeze it? you know? But hey, yeah, I think I would love to have an Iceman solo for him to just kind of go off and do his own thing. But if he was to stay on a Krakoa basis, I would like him to be kind of involved with the training of the next group of kids who want to be superheroes.
I think that could be fun for him.
Yeah.
Also, wait, he feels water? It's not temperature control?
Yes, it's both of those things. So like the way that he's freezing it he's controlling the temperature of the water that he can feel.
Oh, I don't know why I thought he was like just freezing air or something like that. I don't know. Don't mind me.
How else was he got to feel where it is?
I mean, it's mutants and it's like powers. It can be scientific, but it like also doesn't have to be too scientific. You just say, I'm like, look at Dust, look at Husk.
I try not to. Sorry, not that turn. All right, so that was my core character corner on Iceman. Let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come right back.
A little bit, but I've been trying to take some calcium pills because the calcium helps your bones, right? That's the one that does your bones.
Yes. That's the one.
I've been I've been cracking my knuckles a lot, and they're like it's loud cracks, and it hurts. So
I need to get that checked out.
I don't know. I think it's because of the gym. I'm not good at stretching. I know. I'm gonna like break down one day. That's what everyone tells me who's like into fitness or like used to be, or they were like, yeah, it was one day I like turned some age and they were like, my body just broke down. I couldn't move anything. And it happens to me now sometimes. I won't lie. I can't really lift my hands above my head all the time. And like it just gets like real tight. You just be tight. Like, it's like, oh, I can't move there. But I don't know. I think I still got some time to try and turn it around. It's the New Year's coming. Maybe that'll be my resolution.
To start stretching more. Take care of yourself.
Take care of myself. Yes, that's my New Year's resolution. You guys take care.
All right. Well, welcome back, y'all, to another rewatch portion of the show. And this week we are going to be getting into Spider-Man No Way Home. Yes, we are definitely going to be talking spoilers here. So sorry, y'all. Please don't listen if you don't want any spoilers. But we are going to be discussing the third movie in this MCU Spider-Man trilogy. And I'm just going to go right off the rip and say that I really enjoyed this movie a lot. Like, I am a side Spider-Man fan. I haven't read everything, but I did start reading when I first got into comics. It was the X-Men and the Spider-Man.
I remember
that
you
put
said
me
that.
onto. And I was actually reading the Amazing Spider-Man run that was coming out at the time. When this movie was based off of with One More Day. So I was really hyped to like see this movie and see this all like this adaptation of it. So
Isn't One More Day like, isn't it like reviled? Don't like people not like that story?
It's very controversial. I liked it. But it's very but it's very controversial. It's this movie. It's about like the fact that
he makes a deal with Mephisto so everyone forgets he's Spider-Man, and that's when him and MJ break up. I think that was like the big problem. Like him and MJ was breaking up at the time. I remember.
Right. It was like not them breaking up. That's what Mephisto wanted in exchange for. I think it was actually to heal Aunt May. The forgetting thing was also done by Doctor Strange, but I think they may have actually happened at the same time. I can't remember. But either way, he made a deal with Mephisto to in exchange for his like love, his marriage with Mary Jane. Like they would never know that they had ever been together.
That's such a petty trope.
Well, MJ and Peter Parker are like,
no, they're the couple.
The one true love. They're the couple. Talk about somebody that's gonna stand beside them. MJ is gonna stand beside him.
Okay, she reaps the benefits. I mean, I guess there's not a lot of benefits. He's still broke, as he says in this movie.
Mm-hmm. That's how you know she's in love with him for real. Stays broke. But this movie picks up pretty much directly where Far From Home ends. You start off with everyone learning about Spider-Man's his secret identity. Everybody knows that he's Peter Parker, and things start going crazy. Like everybody knows, he basically gets stalked. He tries to like run away and stuff while he's swinging around with MJ, he ends up taking her back to his place, and like everyone on the news is outside, like everyone has found out about it, and things are just too hectic for him. So he goes to Doctor Strange and asks for him to like cast the spell to like make everybody forget. He keeps asking him to like rewrite the spell, and things get crazy again. Magic ruins things, so he has to like.
I think Peter ruined that. The spell was fine, but he kept changing it in the middle of it. Stop talking.
The magic, why didn't you just why can't you fix it? So you could do all of that to do and take everyone's memories away, but like.
Because magic is words. And then because Peter is chaos personified, like that other girl.
Can't even rewrite the spell.
And
without.
Did you not hear it? Strange told him. He said this is too chaotic now. He can't let it get out. Peter ruined it too much. Talk. All around town. Just be quiet.
All of that, but you can't do this.
Just be quiet while the spell's being done. Concentration.
A mess. So the spell gets out of hand. He's got to contain it into this magic cube thing, and
it was a hot box.
It was a cool looking box. It was a real cool looking box. And he's like, you can't we can't release the spell, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while the spell was going on, things have been basically the multiverse was kind of ripped open, and everyone who knew about Peter Parker being Spider-Man ended up coming over. So while Peter is off trying to help get his friends into MIT because everyone's getting their college admissions back, which I really enjoyed that they are moving time ahead, and
Yeah.
is we're no longer ever gonna get like Peter in high school. Now he's in college. Things are like growing up.
Yeah.
Get this attack from Doc Ock, and it is Doc Ock from the original Spider-Man movies, which was
Mm,
really cool to see. I'm sure we've already seen him in the trailers and stuff, but it was still really dope to see him out there fighting Peter Parker. Great action scenes there. The way that they were like swinging
yeah.
around Peter Parker was really, really dope. Shout out to the CGI team. They were working overtime on this one, and it looked
Okay.
great. Um, so he ends up defeating Doc Ock and ends up controlling his octopus arms just because like they're in a different universe, which I loved all the times when they pointed out like we're in a completely different universe. Like we have
Mm-hmm.
way much different technology than you guys have. We're much
Mm-hmm.
further along with this stuff. I really appreciated all those moments to really drive home the fact that like this is a different universe.
Yes.
Um, so then like he defeats Doc Ock, and then um, a green orb drops on the street, and what is that but from Green Goblin? And this is William Dafoe's Green Goblin, and
He killed it in
so
this movie.
William
Like,
Dafoe was fantastic in this movie.
I'm already a
Told
Willem Dafoe
everybody, like, listen,
fan.
uh, let me tell y'all how to be a villain.
Okay. You want to be mean? You better be green because
Okay,
that's the way to
he
do
brought
it.
he brought it. He brought it.
It was just like his performance was just like really fantastic. Just like not even getting into just like the comic bookness of it all and like Spider-Man. It's
Hmm.
just like the performance of just that he put on as this like man who's like dealing with these two different types of personalities and like playing that, and it was just fantastic stuff, man. Great
Yes, and
guy.
he's like in his 60s, and he said that he was only going to come back for this if he was something more than just a cameo, and he
Hmm.
wanted to do his own stunts and like
Yes.
be in it.
And anybody who knows me knows I love an actor who does their own stunts. I think very highly of stunt people, fight choreography, and all the. It's just so when I know you do it yourself, I'm here.
Yes.
Fantastic.
He came back and gave a fantastic, coaching them on being a villain. And so yeah, we get some of that, and the basically Doctor Strange ended up warping or teleporting Spider-Man over into his like little sanctum and telling him that these people from other universes are here. I've already
Hmm.
captured some of them, but we need to capture the rest of them, or you need to
Hmm.
go out and capture the rest of them. Um, but if you can't, like, we're just gonna have to release this spell and like just send them all home.
Hmm.
So in the entire time, I kept wondering if they were actually ever gonna do that. Did you ever think that they
Hmm.
were going to like release the spell?
And just like send them all back to the moment right before they were
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and like that.
I was like 50-50. There was some, I mean, because I was like, that just seems like the easier route to take.
Yeah.
But then once they kind of brought up like the fact that they could cure them and all this stuff, because honestly, that started to open up more questions for me once they said they were going to cure these people. Because it's like if they got brought to this universe right before they died,
Hmm.
even if they went back, like, wouldn't they still be just about to die anyway?
I think that they were be different, so they wouldn't fight
But it's like
Spider-Man anymore.
I think about like Doc Ock. He was like, when he died, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was like that he was trying to get the sun thing, the generator, it was like sinking, it was all on top of him. It was like you gotta
Hmm.
take him back like a couple of days if you want him to survive. If
Yeah,
he's just going back to
you
just
do.
that moment, it's like you're not saying, oh, okay, he's happy now. He's a good guy dying. I'm sorry. um the others, I guess you could do something for Green Goblin. He like could say something, so or he doesn't press the little button so the thing comes up and he doesn't get impaled. I
Mhm.
don't know how the Lizard and Electro died. I never saw any of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies.
You didn't miss out on much. They were not the best, and they actually kind of poke fun at that in this movie, where later on when the Spider-Mans are together, you know, they're talking about who was Spider-Man 1, and Tom Holland was like, I'm Spider-Man 1,
Mm,
and Andrew Garfield's was Spider-Man 3. So
yeah.
I did find it interesting that they kind of poke fun at that. But, his movies weren't that great. Like I've said before on this podcast, probably, I'm like a adjacent Spider-Man fan, just because like I've been reading him for a while, dip in and out of his comic book runs. But Electro has always been my favorite villain.
Okay.
And Electro is my favorite Spider-Man villain because like he don't give a fuck. He really like does not give a shit. He's in it to kill Spider-Man and to get some money. Like that's what he's here for. And he just also happens to be like extremely powerful because he is like electricity, like living electricity. So he's there isn't some kind of like moral like battles that he's having with himself. He's just in it to win it. And I appreciate a villain like that. Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Crazy.
Calculated.
He's the guy for me. That I will say, like, I'm honestly not the biggest Spider-Man fan. I don't read a lot of his comics. I might dip in and out every now and again if I hear some of my favorites showing up. I like Black Cat. But I remember there was this one run of Spider-Man, and the arc particularly I think it was called Craven's Hunt. And they were like, him and his family were like going around and killing all the Spider characters. Oh my gosh. I love that.
Classic story. Yeah.
That was hot.
Spider-Man is goated. I'm sorry. Like Spider-Man really is like one of the greatest superheroes of all time. It just truly is like it is what it is. He just has it. Yeah.
Like top 3 maybe.
Easily. He's got it.
Yeah, he's popular.
You gotta give him his credit.
He's popular. He's popular. I'll never take that away from him.
he is the superhero. Yeah, so like the movie continues on basically, and they have to stop all of the other Sinister Six. Electro in this movie was done better than he was in his other movie. I will definitely give them some props on that. Basically, he was just a blue stoic thing in Amazing Spider-Man. And this time they just basically told Jamie Foxx to just be Jamie Foxx. And that's fine with me. I'll take that Electro. Yeah.
He was funny. And I liked how he was just kind of like real with it. Like you said, he did not care. He was like, no, I just want this energy and I'm gonna do what I want.
That's very Electro. Like I'm just here to get this power and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do. So I thought perfect showcasing for me. So we did get some fantastic this fight stuff with Green Goblin, who like comes back into this into the apartment. And I will also say that one thing I knew people that were complaining about a lot with MCU Spider-Man particularly was the showcasing of his spider sense. And a lot of fans were like, where is it? Why haven't we seen it a lot? And like they would show him like, reacting to things, but not in the way that they showed him in this movie. We've got a lot of spider sense stuff and that really dope stuff that was shown when Doctor Strange took his astral form out and his spider sense was like moving his body, and it was like showing you that's just how his like his spider sense.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah. Like when when it has like the tingling stuff all over his head, that's his spider sense going off. And when they kicked him out and his astral form had it, and he was like, oh, look how I'm doing this. It's because his body moves on its own because of the.
That was clever. That's a clever way to do that. I especially liked it in the moment where, they find after he gets all of the rogue multiversal villains and they're talking about creating the cures for them and they have them in there, and then it starts going off because obviously Goblin is about to betray them, and so they're just kind of, he's like just standing there and he's like walking around and he's just looking and they got it, and it's like that was a really good use of it there. I love that part.
Yeah, that was really dope. And then that's when things like kick off because the villains are all breaking free. Electro was like, I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get, which was the arc reactor energy stuff, which was a cool tie-in because when he first appeared in the comic books, that's what he did. He was absorbing Stark Industries tech to like absorb energy and stuff when Electro was first created. And like Spider-Man, I forget the issue it was, but it was like one of his obviously early issues. So I thought that was a cool like little nod to the comics. Yeah, Green Goblin starts destroying him, and they start having this insane fight throughout this entire building. They get suplexed through like multiple floors.
They were tearing him up. Which I
Yeah.
think, again, like you said, the fight scenes were good, and I think this was finally a really good showcasing for Holland Spider-Man in terms of like his strength. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've seen him like do a couple of things here and there, like Civil War. He was holding up the silo. He's like he held Bucky's hand when he's punched him, but like this was the first time I felt like, dang, like that boy can take some damage. He's strong.
Yeah. He's not a chump, that's for sure. One thing I've always loved about Spider-Man is you give him a little bit of room to work, and
I actually remember I did read the Superior Spider-Man run
oh yeah.
where Otto had taken over his body, and I like distinctly remember that being something that happened. He was fighting Wolverine, like Wolverine was going off on him, and like Ock in Peter's body like beats Wolverine down, and he tells him he's like Parker is so much stronger and like can fight and do all of these things that people can't think he can't do. He just doesn't do it to you guys because you're his friends.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't gotta do that, and he just like knocks Wolverine out, and it's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah. People forget just how like strong he is. I think he's like in that 10-ton rank with his strength, and like he's also super agile and fast and stuff, so he can swing himself and
he can fight. He's been like trained by Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I know some Spider-Man stuff.
It's goated.
I wasn't going that far. I was just saying that I know some stuff.
But they have this really like intense fights, and this is the one part of the movie where I was like, I rolled my eyes at what I thought was a pretty big MacGuffin, and that is, so we're back with Ned and MJ, and they're trying to figure out like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna open this box? We just try to find if we can find Peter, see if he can help us. All of a sudden, Ned is like magic,
making portals. Yeah, that was like really annoying to me. And so I know they tried to like hint at it a little bit earlier when he first met Strange. He's like, oh, they said I might be a little bit of magic later. And then even when Peter and Strange are fighting, he like traps him in the mirror dimension and then takes his little ring thing, I guess, which was supposed to help Ned make the portals. It just still didn't feel like true, because no matter what you might say about magic, you still got to have like a little something, like a little train.
It don't look like it.
It's like that's not how it works, and it's just like, are you also going to do anything with this in the future now? Because again, it's like we've seen the end of the movie, and we know what happens, and so Ned in his place. Is it just like, is he coming back? Are we gonna like make him like a magic character now? Are we ever gonna see it? It was just a thing just to do, like, because it was fun. Like, let me know something. I didn't think it was that fun though. And it was also like, whatever. I ain't like it.
I didn't like it either. It felt very MacGuffin-y. Like, I understood the point of it was to be a MacGuffin because they needed to get the other Spider-Mans in there and whatever, but I just didn't like that you had to give him magic.
Did they?
But I guess it seems like anybody can learn magic.
Did they cheer at your theater when the spiders, like when Andrew and Toby came on?
Yeah, they did. They also cheered in the beginning. I forgot this part when we see Matt Murdock, and that is Mr. Charlie Cox as Daredevil.
Iconic. Okay, just for anyone who doesn't know, you guys remember when like Daredevil first got the cancellation announcement on Netflix, and like there was this uproar, and they were like, we got to keep this man, the MCU needs to bring him in, we got to do something, and there was like a petition going around for people to sign to have him brought back. I signed the petition.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
And I don't regret it. Charlie Cox absolutely deserves. Okay, like
he was a really great Matt Murdock.
He was a great Matt Murdock. He was a great Daredevil. He did amazing. He just like the hallway scene is iconic. Think about how many people try to do like their own little hallway scenes.
Hallway.
Like it was the standard. You know what I'm saying? And he was done dirty, and I'm glad to see him back. There are rumors that he's gonna pop up in a couple of other shows, crossing my fingers for some She-Hulk action. And it's like after that, I hope they give him the works. Give him his own little D+ series. Give him a movie. Give him a cartoon. Give him everything.
Kevin Feige has already said that, you know, in the MCU, Charlie Cox will be Daredevil. So
Period.
I would not be surprised if they give him. Would you want a show or a movie if you had
I
to
want,
pick one? Well, obviously.
but if I had to pick one, I think I would want. I think I still want a show. I feel
Yeah.
like Daredevil stories are they're like stories. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
Hmm.
they're things that you kind of want to see play out over time. I don't want to cram any of that down to 2 hours. I don't feel like we can
Yeah.
carry. He could get
And I
his
feel
like
like his fights are great too. So I
his
won't want
fights
them more
really great. I feel
long
like if
fights.
you were to give him a movie, the movie would be like the event. Like
Yeah.
if the series is the comic book, then the movie is his Devil's Reign.
Hmm. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it. Him coming up means my girl is right behind him, man. So
Ugh.
I love it.
I hope they don't bring her back.
Election.
I didn't like her in that show.
We can rewrite her. We can rewrite her.
Okay.
So we get to this crazy fight scene going on, and May ends up getting hurt. She ends up actually dying, and before she dies, she does give Peter the "with great power there must also come great responsibility" line, and yeah, so then he ends up meeting the other Spider-Man Peter Parkers. They have this really heartfelt moment on the roof where they're telling each other like what happened in their own universes, the sad things that have happened, and you really see the differences between the way that the Peter Parkers are written for each movie, because the first one was really corny and the second one did cry a lot, and they showed just how
Wow.
like emotional Andrew Garfield was in this movie compared to the other ones. He was always like, you know, I love you guys and stuff like that. So I like that they leaned into like what the differences of
Yeah.
all the different Spider.
I
Um,
will say that
it hyped when I saw all three of them swinging together.
yeah, no, that was a really dope moment. That looked really good. I will say I'm glad that you said that he was emotional in the movies because I was thinking to myself the entire time. I was like, I've never seen an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, and this does not change my opinion on wanting to at all. I was like, this boy is
Yes.
crying so much, and it is so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I also love when they were like talking about the things they've done and how Peter was like, "Oh, I've gone to space," and like Toby was like, "I've done this and that," and Andrew was like, "I haven't done any of that."
Because he didn't.
It's just
Or
like,
like that, I
man.
love when he was like, Tom was like, I'm in the Avengers. And like,
Hmm.
what's that?
That is that. Which, you know, that also was like kind of interesting to me because I think they obviously made a point to remind you, like you said, that this is alternate reality and they don't all have the same thing. So it's like, we got a couple of tidbits that we know in the MCU that there is no Oscorp yet. And he
Right.
doesn't know like anything about Osborn. So it makes me interested in this like future installments. Are we going to like continue on without having that? Are we going to bring in like a Harry who is maybe like doing a Oscorp startup and like that kind? Are we going to get like little tidbits
That's
of
how they
that,
sound like to me.
or are we just going to like go forward and just see other characters who we've never seen, like Black Cat?
I feel like we'll see a Black Cat. In my opinion, I think that the way that this ended was fantastic. After they have the whole fight scenes and everything with all the different villains, um, and everybody goes back home, I thought that the way that Peter is kind of in college now, he's off into like his own little apartment. Um, it gave me the vibe of like, okay, he isn't going to be in high school and doing all the kid stuff anymore. I think now they're going
Mm-hmm.
to see a Black Cat come in. You'll probably even see him date Gwen, because the way this movie ended, in order to fix the spell, they could make everybody forget about Spider-Man, and that
Mm-hmm.
just made everybody, including Doctor Strange, just forget, which I think is a perfect way for Sony to get their character back. Like they were like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
listen, you had your fun. If we re-up on these contracts, then maybe we'll work something out again. But
Mm-hmm.
if not, you don't have to even mention Spider-Man going
Okay.
forward. So
Which
I I like that they kind of did that.
there was something I can't remember what it is right now, but there was something about that spell and like the whole forgetting thing that didn't make sense to me.
Mm.
Oh, I can't remember what it is. Stay tuned to the Twitter, guys. I might tweet it out if I remember later on at a point in time. But I thought that was exciting. I think also the thing about him being in college is kind of fun. For those who don't know, this is a little fun fact. But in college, in the comic books, Peter Parker's roommate was one Mr. Brian Braddock, who is
It
also
was, yes.
known as Captain Britain. Well, formerly Captain Britain. He's currently Captain Avalon. His
I was like,
sister,
let's say former.
Betsy Braddock, is currently Captain Britain.
Yes, it was. That was his roommate. So that's what I could probably see them doing. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they did bring Brian in as his roommate and did that. And then they have him because at the end of this movie, after they made everyone forget, MJ and Peter have their kiss, and they net everybody that we're gonna forget everybody. It is he goes and tries to meet up with her, but he doesn't even try to tell her about like everything that happened before. Obviously, he looks as if like he realizes every time he's around them that like mess happens. She sees the scar on her face, and like he's like she would have not even had that had I not even been involved in her life. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone's gonna move on. So I could see him probably getting new friends with Harry being his new
Mm-hmm.
friend who has a startup company, rich something in the startup, and probably Black Cat is
I'm here
also
for it.
probably be around. Yeah.
That's my team.
Spider-Man's got some great stuff. My favorite times to read Spider-Man were his post-grad life and post-grad, and I liked when he had Parker Industries. I know most of people didn't, but I did.
I was about to say one of the things I also did like about this movie was like it reminded you that like Peter is smart and like
Hmm.
in a scientist way, and I loved like all the experiments. I love when he was helping Osborn like create the cures for everybody. I love when we saw all three of them kind of working together to do stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, this is like a really
He's smart.
interesting aspect of Peter that I like, and it was nice to see that really emphasized. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to maybe if Brian pops up. But if
I
Brian
wouldn't
and
be
Black
surprised
Cat
if Miles
pop up,
if Miles pops up. That would be hot to see. I did find it funny when they had Electro make that joke like, I thought
that's
you were from Queens. I thought you was gonna be black. And he's like, there has to be a black Spider-Man out there somewhere.
somewhere. That was nice. Do you think for the next part of this movie, will they do another trilogy, or you think they'll just give him like maybe another one-off?
Oh, they'll definitely do another trilogy for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't know. I still haven't seen the second one, Far From Home.
Um, it's alright.
Yeah, I had a couple.
It's a little bit more MCU-ish than this one.
Mhm.
As far as like, some of the humor and stuff, I think, and like the tone.
Somebody
But
told me I didn't need to see it. I just needed to know that obviously Mysterio unmasked him at the end, and then they told me something about a post-credit scene. And I was like, oh, that's fine.
yeah, that's all you really need to see. And then speaking of post-credit scenes, in
Hmm.
this one we get a first post-credit scene of the Tom Hardy, right? I was gonna
Yes.
comment. Yeah, Tom Hardy, who as Venom, and he is like going over everything that happened in our universe, and then he ends up going back to his own, but some Venom ends up getting left in our universe. So eventually, we could have our own Venom.
So I had a question about that post-credit scene. It was that supposed to be like Sony's version of Venom, or was it just like maybe another alternate version of Venom who knew who Peter Parker was? Because Sony's version of Venom technically doesn't know Peter Parker, so there's no reason he should have been pulled into the universe.
So there was an end credit scene in the Venom movie. I didn't see it, but I did see the post credit scene where he got like transported into our universe. I don't know how, but the sound effect that it looked like just looked like Wanda. But I don't know what that meant. Or if it was right that I heard that correctly, or like if it was something else. But somehow the the other one got sent over to our universe. I don't know how, but he did
Okay.
in that movie.
Okay. Okay.
And then he got sent back because he
Well,
can't stay there.
he left some Venom, so Venom
Yes.
continues to live on. We're never gonna get rid of him.
Yeah,
So
he's here to stay. And
who
then
else
we
has
get
been? Oh, wasn't Flash Thompson Venom in the comics at one point in time?
hmm
You think they might do that for
Oh, I
that
hope
boy?
not. I hope not. That boy is annoying. No, that character is useless. So don't do that. No, they'll probably just go with Eddie Brock. Just a different one.
I don't know who that is.
Don't worry about it. So we get a second after credit scene, and it is the trailer for Multiverse of Madness. And we see Doctor Strange go up to Miss Wanda Maximoff while she is out pruning these flowers, and he says, you know, I need you for something. And she's like, you know, I did some bad things. And he's like, we're not even talking about
so irritating. Like,
you know,
girl, just please.
It's like,
I know. She like ready to give herself up. Where's the handcuffs? Take me away. Get out of here with your complex. That's not why we're here. Shut up. Where's Billy? I thought you was looking for him.
Yeah.
That's what you need to be doing.
He's going to go search for him. That's the problem. Because clearly we see that he's like, you know, have you ever heard of the multiverse? And she makes this look on her face that's like, I have heard of it.
I heard my son calling my name.
So we see a bunch of these like really cool shots of some look like Shuma Gorath is going to be in this movie. They make sure to have that star showing for America Chavez. She's going to be in this. It looks like the tone is going to be like a little bit more scary and all this stuff. I really enjoyed the trailer a lot. I think
it was hot.
I'm going to be team Baron Mordo because he has a point in this because the magicians are getting out of hand.
I mean, Steven's getting out of hand.
And
Wanda, I guess, too.
You're 2 for 2. You're 2 for 2.
But I mean,
Agatha?
Wanda and Steven weren't the best people, like, to start out with.
Who is? It can't
There's
say
no one.
Magic users. All they ever do is just tamper with stuff or don't have enough power to fix it.
They haven't introduced enough magic users for that to be a legitimate question yet.
We probably don't need too many more because they're just gonna ruin more things. This whole movie showed them that they will break the fabric of reality.
But he was fixed. Again, that wasn't his fault. That was the Green Goblin's fault because he blew the box up.
Why were you even doing it in the first place?
Because of Peter Parker.
It's a mess.
Everybody want the help, but don't want to take none of the blame when it goes.
And what about Scarlet Witch?
That's crazy. She did that on her own.
Okay.
She did that on her own. That lady's just not nice. I don't have anything to say about that. Okay. I can't help with that one. Westview can. If you go to Westview now and you see a couple burn the witch signs, I'm sorry.
They got a point.
It's like,
they got a point. So, I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm pretty excited for the movie. But that one thing about the Magic Girls is the visuals look hot. So
it did look really good.
Yeah,
there was a lot in there that was intriguing. I was actually really enjoying like all the little stars that we saw of America too and her little tidbits that were coming in. So I'm excited to see how she pops in, Strange, and just what they do with this Magic Corner as a whole. Honestly, I've said it before, I'm not really the biggest fan of like multiversal stuff. I do think that it can turn into a little bit of a MacGuffin to just kind of do whatever, but I do think it'll also be useful for the MCU. I will be completely honest with everyone here. I feel like this is a safe space. I hope so.
Yeah.
And team recast T'Challa. I do feel like for this sequel, they should respect him and like let that go. But I think in the future, if they just want to use that multiverse excuse to like grab a different one from an alternate timeline and bring him in, then go ahead and do that. I think there are a lot of things that you want to see from T'Challa that you kind of need from T'Challa. You're not going to get Storm and Black Panther.
Right. And I want to see that, right?
That's mess.
And we love mess.
So, you know, I'm glad that
I need him in the Illuminati. I need that.
You want to see all that stuff. So we'll see. I think the multiverse will help them with things like that.
Yeah. I mean, this trailer just showed that they are giving Doctor Strange somebody to fight because they are talking about like there's this big magic threat, and they showed that this magic threat is him, like a dark version of him. So Magic always is just ruining something.
It's the hottest. Everybody wants to be a part of it. It looks so good. It's gonna be hot.
It does look like it's gonna be.
Come on. I'm ready. What would you rate this Spider-Man movie?
Honestly.
And hold on. What would you rate this movie? And out of all of the Spider-Man films, would you rank it towards the top or the bottom? Go.
Honestly, this is definitely at the top of the Spider-Man movies by far. Maybe second to only like Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, that's fair.
It's definitely like top 3 Spider-Man movies for sure. If you're a Spider-Man fan, you're gonna love this movie. I give this a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
It was a fantastic movie.
Okay. I would give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was good. I won't lie, I thought some of the character choices were a little strange. Like the whole moments of Steven and Peter and that whole call me Steven, call me sir, call me Steven. Like we didn't know that. That was like awkward. I felt like I really did like a lot of the stuff with Peter and MJ. I felt emotion at some of
Michelle,
the points.
as you want.
Michelle, let it be known. Michelle
Jones Watson.
I thought the scene where Aunt May died and like how Peter was like there, I thought that was really well done. That is one thing I'll say. Tom Holland kind of sells his emotional bits really well.
He grew.
He was like doing it, and I like felt really bad. And I did like the turn of like Aunt May giving him like the with great power comes great responsibility line. It also kind of like left me with some questions. I was like, so did like Uncle Ben not die here? Where he at? Did he just leave? What was he doing?
Did she even have an Uncle Ben?
Okay, what's up? Ben left.
You know, because they made it a point that the other ones got it from their Uncle Ben, and Tom never looked like
I had an Uncle Ben too.
I had an Uncle Ben too. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that energy. So we'll see, but I still like those emotion scenes. The action giving, I thought a lot of it was great. Like you said, that moment where they were all fighting together and like swinging around the Statue of Liberty was really good. So I'm excited. I think.
And his costume at the end, that was hot. That's probably one of the better Spider-Man costumes that they've shown on screen.
I think that.
And they showed him designing it himself. You know, I know that was the issue people had before. That people call him Iron Man Jr. because all of his suits were tech. But he showed him being a broke college kid. He designed his suit himself.
He made his suit, which was really nice. The happy thing, was it the happy not remembering him? Because that is what it was. So the spell goes through. Everybody forgets that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. However, Happy still shows up to Aunt May's grave. If he knew Aunt May, he should still know Peter Parker through Aunt May, right?
But he does know Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, but it's like even if he like didn't know that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, it was like he made it seem like he didn't know who Peter was. He asked him, he was like, "Oh, how did you know May?" It was like, boy, if you was dating her, you'd see my pictures.
Maybe it was. No, I thought it was. I guess maybe you're right. Yeah. I gotta think about it again because I thought maybe the spell also took away his memories of being Peter Parker, but they also. No, it was Peter Parker too.
I thought it was just
it was him. It was him because as a person. Because MJ and she didn't know who he was.
I remember them not remembering
as Peter Parker.
I don't know. The happy thing was just kind of weird for me because I feel like you should like you can forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but I guess I don't think you would still forget Peter Parker dating.
The spell was for Peter Parker,
but whatever. 4 out of 5. I think if you're a Spider-Man fan, I can totally see why you love it and like why this would be like one of the greatest Spider-Man movies to you. Like, and it was a lot of fan service for just people like. Again, I'm not even the biggest Spider-Man fan, but like I clapped and screamed a little bit when Tobey jumped out his portal, because like that was who I grew up with. You know, he gave it.
It's cool. It
was cool.
All right, y'all. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Let us know if you've seen the movie yet, and send us any of your own reviews. Please make sure you check us out wherever you get your podcasts and rate and review us there. You can find us on Twitter at Another Relaunch, and as well on Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can find us if you want to watch us on YouTube at Another Relaunch TV. You can find me on most social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance. There's an underscore at the end.